I can honestly say that breathwork has completely changed my life.
We need modalities like breathwork to help us to face the unpredictable situations that we can be in at no fault of our own.
If you have been living under a rock and you don't know much about breathwork has been around basically since man has been here. There's different techniques to activate and to rest our nervous system.
Welcome to Krystal Rowe Impact, a space dedicated to empowering you to be the change that your bloodline has been waiting for. Join me and together, let's inspire change. Kia ora, and welcome back to the Krystal Rowe Impact podcast. And today I have my amazing husband joining me, and we're actually going to share a little bit about the breathwork journey that TJ has embarked on recently to actually elevate the work that I have been doing. So together we are combining our modalities, we're combining our experiences, and we're combining our passion to be able to bring to you just an amazing experience. But before we do that, if you haven't heard of breathwork, I'm going to get TJ to explain just briefly about what it is, and then we'll explain how it's actually impacted both of our lives.
Thank you, my love. Amazing. Thank you for having me here. And so if you have been living under a rock and you don't know much about breathwork has been around basically since man has been here. A lot of countries have been doing breathwork techniques for tens of thousands of years, and these techniques help us in so many ways. I first got interested in doing breathwork because I was intrigued in it, and I've done a couple of breathwork techniques with people, and I just love the way it makes me feel. It calms me, relaxes me, and stuff like that. So I dug deeper, got into it, and so there's different techniques to activate and to rest our nervous system. So there's the parasympathetic nervous system, which is these breath works to help calm yourself. And then there's a sympathetic nervous system exercises or techniques, bit like the Wim Hof techniques, where you're activating your body. You're putting yourself in these uncomfortable situations and then you use your breath to calm yourself down. So what you're doing, you are basically retraining yourself to be calm and peaceful in uncomfortable situations in life. And I've been loving this journey. Like I do this thing called dynamic breathwork every morning, and then can follow that with a cold shower. And at first it was like, ugh, but honestly, you cannot have a cold shower and feel like shit when you get out. It's just amazing. But yeah, all these different modalities with the breath has really impacted the way I live today. And one of my main goals was to just create peace and calm within. No matter what is going on the outside world, I just wanted to create this peace and harmony and calmness within inside me. So I have been tested with it.
Yeah. And when you did get tested, it was quite amazing to see how this breath work had become a way of life.
So I've been doing this breath for quite a while, creating this peace and calm within. And Krystal and I went down to pick up pizza for our kids, and there was a couple of drunk guys outside the pizza shop. So I walked in, one walked straight into me. So do that to me 2 years ago, it would have been such a different outcome. So I sort of just looked at him and said, "You all right, mate?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm all right." Like, started beefing up, like wanted to go me. And I totally ignored him. I walked in, I grabbed the pizza. And then as I was walking back to the car, him and his mate sort of surrounded me and were like just mouthing off all these, nasty names. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I carried on walking to the car, and they basically attacked me. One gave me a king shot in the chin, and even after that, I was like still calm.
Yeah,
Like,
it was like watching a movie almost.
yeah.
Like you stepped back,
I
you were
stepped back and I was
calm.
like, oh, okay. I felt like I'm not reacting. What's wrong with me? And then I still didn't react. So then I was just trying to deter away from it, like,
To calm it
to calm
down,
it down.
to neutralize it.
And then before you know it, one guy had gone around the back of the car and came for me from behind. Krystal yells at it and says, "Baby, behind you." So as I turned, this other guy had a half beer schooner, glass of beer, and he actually threw it at my head. And luckily, growing up on the streets where I grew up on, I was able to defend myself. I didn't want to fight or nothing like that because I had created this peace and calm within. But I was able to defend myself with these two guys and get away from the situation in one piece, except for cuts on the back of my head. But
So
but
even then though, like I'm going to just quickly butt in
Yeah,
here
yeah,
because
yeah.
it was a bit more dramatic than that. I was sitting in the car and honestly, it was like a movie. And so when this guy has like thrown this cup, it's actually smashed on TJ's head and it exploded all over the car. Like it was a big cup and there was glass on top of the car, over the windscreen and on the bonnet. And then from there, like he was saying, like downplaying it a bit, he, was able to defend himself. But what happened was he like moved them and he was fighting both of them. Like, and I'm watching and like this one's coming this way and he's like fighting that way and then that way. There's both of them. But in a moment, one of the drunker guys that when we arrived was barely able to stand, he went over and flipped a trolley over to try and take a wheel off, which seemed to
He's trying to rip
trying to
something off.
find a weapon. And then, long story short, we got in the car and we've noticed just TJ's back of his head bleeding like bad. And we ended up at the emergency, you got 5 staples in the back of your head. So it wasn't like a little scratch. But from that experience, even through that whole process, you seemed, from what I was witnessing, calm.
I was calm. Like, backtrack a little bit. We actually took the pizza home and we sat down and had pizza with the kids at first. And they said, "Oh,
Wrapped your head up and
wrapped the head up and had pizza with the kids." And just, it was just like
Yeah.
a normal night.
we had to wait for somebody to come over so we could go
And then we
take
told the
you.
kids we've got a work meeting at 8 o'clock at night.
We did went and tell them the whole story the next day, but it was in reflection, and I think this is the key point to how powerful breathwork is, that you used to be a scrapper. Is that fair to say, my love? Like any chance that you got, you'd be on the piss.
Yeah.
Somebody looked you the wrong way, you guys would fight. Like, I mean, that's the world today.
That was the norm.
That's sort of
where we're
the
from,
norm.
you had to learn how to
Yeah.
defend yourself. And
You've grown now to a point where you were literally attacked by these 2 unpredictable drunk guys.
And honestly, I feel that was a test.
Yeah.
It was a test to see how far I had come with
It
what
almost
I'm doing.
feels like that.
Like, because I haven't been in a situation like that for years. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it was a test, and I took it. And I was quite proud of myself the way I handled it. And credit to the breathwork journey that I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like proof that in those high stressful situations
Yeah.
that, you once probably would have reacted to out in rage or whatever, that you were able, your body just took over in a way. Yes, you defended yourself, but also your body took over in noticed a stressful situation and took over and actually
And the calm
allowed
down was like instant. Like, I was completely calm when it all finished.
Yeah.
Like, you're freaking out. Say, "Are you all right?" Yeah, I'm fine.
I was completely traumatized, but that's probably another podcast though. The PTSD that I experienced, I think it took 3 weeks to get over it, but I was traumatized. Like, I can even feel myself now, like it.
But that was my opportunity to jump in and teach you a breath.
And I had to use that.
Yeah.
Use the modalities and the work and actually put it into play to get through that. because it was terrifying, and it was not the situation as such, but the what if. I think when we live in a world today, we need modalities like breathwork to help us to face the unpredictable situations that we can be in at no fault of our own. You know, we were literally getting pizza for an early dinner. It was like 7 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
you know, literally getting dinner for our family. And unfortunately, that is the world that we live in. And, you know, sometimes we are taught to be prepared by how you grew up, you know, be tough, be this, be that, perceive this certain exterior to face the world. But now we're living in such a dangerous world.
Yeah.
Where,
But yeah, in saying all that too, though, that was that was a push for me to want to start these men retreats for men like that, you know? I
yeah,
had no hate or nothing towards these men as I was driving away. And that's when I knew that I had changed as well.
yeah.
Like I wanted to be able to help those men, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, you did. Yeah. And that's the power of the breath.
Peace,
Yeah.
peace within.
Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge you for taking that journey to be that beacon of light for other men like yourself to be able to experience and use these tools, use this beautiful breathwork modality and this toolkit in life, and to overcome and heal and,
Yeah.
yeah, be all that you're meant to be.
I can honestly say that breathwork has completely changed my life. Like I've even created my own little motto that I tell myself when I get into tough or difficult situations is, if I can breathe, I can choose. So yeah, what if you were to go into a situation and you haven't been doing any breathwork exercises or techniques? Just ask yourself, how would the outcome be without the breath? How would the outcome be if you haven't created this peace and calm within? For me, I know if I hadn't done these breathwork techniques in that situation, the outcome would have been a whole lot worse. Not for just myself, but for my family as well. And family is my number one thing to me and is important to me. So yeah, the breath, honestly, we get life from our breath, but these breathwork techniques is giving me life.
So, whānau, you heard it here from the man himself that breathwork can actually change your life. So make sure that you follow us on all social media platforms. Follow along TJ's journey as well, and get along to one of our breathwork events that we have. And if you need any more information or you've got a question around breathwork, please leave a comment below. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review on all of our social media platforms, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Love you, whānau, and remember, if you can breathe, you can choose.